So when you start looking at all the products, they're not driven by love. They're not selling you shit for love. They're selling it to you for profit. And once you understand this dynamic and you're like, you know what? Maybe this person doesn't have the best interest in mind for me. Maybe they'll sleep perfectly at night knowing that they don't give a fuck whether they fuck somebody else's life up, as long as they're chill. As long as they're sleeping in their nice house or in their penthouse or whatever it may be. Over the last couple of decades, shit's been extremely politicized. If you don't meet the earnings, they'll fire your ass. And if you have a $30 million a year severance, the fuck you mean you're gonna let that go? No, you're gonna work your ass off to make sure you hit those earnings. I was talking to somebody that has a really big brand. It's like a Shopify store, and they sell supplements. And he was talking to me how it's so easy to go to one of these universities and to pay for these studies to review your drug or review your supplement or your nootropic or whatever it may be, your name it. And what is the incentive for this undergraduate, this graduate student, this professor to actually do research on your shit? What's the incentive for them to do it?
Well, it's for
nothing.
For them, it's like a search of truth, perhaps.
Well, no. But the thing is, a lot of these studies are paid for. So you fund the studies, you give scholarships. For example, there was a lot of universities that are in the veterinary medicine space. You have Purina and all these super diabolical food companies in the pet space, which that's a completely different matrix. That's the pet food matrix. What do? They go to the universities and they say, hey, we'll sponsor all the food for all your animal clinics, right? For whenever animals get sick, we'll give you all the food, but you need to let us run the nutrition course when it comes to university. So you have the company that provides nutrition, giving the students nutrition information and telling them what our product is the best.
Yeah.
So there's a big financial incentive attached to a lot of pharma, a big financial incentive, shareholders, stocks, all these things that they want to make money. If you look at all these companies, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, all these that are publicly listed, these are publicly listed companies with shareholders. What is the purpose of this company? Is to increase what? Shareholder what? Value. And to increase stock value. That's it. That is the purpose of the company, to serve the shareholders. So what's the goal? Serve the shareholders. Fuck the public. As long as we can pay our fines, make money, and grow. Right? And this is the issue that I have with the current style of capitalism. I don't think this is the only format of capitalism that exists. I think that there's a way to reinvent it in a more decentralized format that doesn't only think about the next quarter, right? If you look at all these companies, they're thinking about making it to the next quarter, right? They're always like, how can I make sure that my stock doesn't dump 20% in my next earnings call? Like, imagine your entire life is, I need to make it to next earnings and make sure that my bosses are happy or my investors are happy.
Well, a lot of people
that's how most of these companies live. So when you start looking at all the products, they're not driven by love. They're not selling you shit for love. They're selling it to you for profit. And once you understand this dynamic and you're like, you know what? Maybe this person doesn't have the best interest in mind for me. Maybe they care about themselves, right? Maybe they'll sleep perfectly at night knowing that they don't give a fuck whether they fuck somebody else's life up, as long as they're chill. As long as they're sleeping in their nice house or in their penthouse or whatever it may be. So there's a big discrepancy, like you said, with the health shit. And I agree, dude. Over the last couple of decades, shit's been extremely politicized. And I think people are starting to shun away from the religion of science and starting to use critical thinking, which is extremely important.
That's so interesting how I've never thought too much about the earnings reports and how companies really are living paycheck to paycheck, but at a grand scale. I mean,
you are, bro. If you don't meet the earnings, they'll fire your ass. They'll just fire your ass. And if you have a $30 million a year severance, the fuck you mean you're going to let that go? No, you're going to work your ass off to make sure you hit those earnings.
So then the solution, but it's not going to make as much money, is to expand the time horizon that you're optimizing for, right? So thinking about humans at 100 years from now rather than now. And that's actually something I want to talk to you about, because a lot of times I tend to think that a lot of these things that happen that are that seem so evil and planned, right? For all we know, they might be. On the other hand, what do you say to just straight up human stupidity, right? Like we have been pretty dumb in the past. I mean, back in the 1300s, people thought things that now we would look at as just so dumb, right? But they just didn't know. So what do you think that plays, like, is that a factor in a lot of the things that we see today?
Of course it is. There's obviously shit that happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I have this saying that says there's no difference between mismanagement and scams. The result is the same, right? So it doesn't matter what your intention is, right? How is the road to hell paved with good intentions? So people can tell you, oh, I have good intentions, oh, I care. But at the end of the day, it's all about results. Mm-hmm. Results, the impact of your life is what matters. And I think people play the one side of like, oops. Yeah. Oops, I just lit up this fucking train on fire and just oops. It doesn't matter, right? The consequences are what matters.